Page 8. He asked her if she had not received the letter that he had written to her to say that he was coming home. Yes, they had received the letter, and they had been told by another of the island boys that he was ill. They got the news that he was sick. Yes, that was why he was back. Was it not a piece of luck? This is Salvatore saying it was lucky for him that he came back. Oh, but they had heard that he would never be quite well again. The doctor talked a lot of nonsense. Again, Salvatore, the doctor is not telling the real truth. But he knew very well that now he was home, again he would recover. He would become healthy again. He would be completely cured of his sickness. That was his hope. They were silent for a little while. They, the girl and the mother. And then the mother nudged the girl. Made a sign to her by touching him with the elbow. She did not try to soften the blow. It was a great disappointment, the news that they are going to tell. So she told it directly, bluntly. She did not show any kindness at all. She told him straight out, directly, with the blunt directness of her race, that she could not marry a man who would never be strong enough to work like a man. In the beginning, we are told that this family considered themselves like the Caesars. Caesar is a royal Roman emperor. They had made up their minds. They had decided her mother and father and she, that is the girl, and her father would never give consent, would never allow Salvatore to marry her. When Salvatore went home, he found that they all knew. The family knew. The girl's father had been to tell them what they had decided. But somehow the mother could not tell the news that the girl had ditched him. She could not tell it to Salvatore. The girl's father had been to tell them that they had decided, but they had lacked the courage to tell him themselves. He wept on his mother's bosom. He wept on his mother's shoulder. He was terribly unhappy, but he did not blame the girl. That is important there. He was disappointed, he was sad, he was broken, but he did not say one harsh word against the girl. He did not complain, he did not blame her. A fisherman's life is hard, difficult, and it needs strength and endurance, the ability to bear suffering. He knew very well that a girl could not afford to marry a man who might not be able to support her. His smile was very sad. He is still smiling, but it is a sad smile. And his eyes had the look of a dog that had been beaten, disappointment. But he did not complain. And he never said a hard word of the girl he had loved so well. He did not blame her, he did not complain. Then a few months later, when he had settled down to the common round, working in his father's vineyard and fishing, his mother told him that there was a young woman in the village who was willing to marry him. Her name was Assunta. And Salvatore said, "She is as ugly as the devil." A very ugly girl, he said. She was older than he, 24 or 25, and she had been engaged to a man who, while doing his military service, had been killed in Africa. This new girl, Assunta. She had a little money of her own, and if Salvatore married her, she could buy him a boat of his own, and they could take a vineyard and be happy. Chance happened at that moment to be without a tenant. She bought a vineyard which by chance had no tenant. Tenant is a person who pays rent and lives in a house or owns a field. To be without a tenant. His mother told him that Assunta had seen him at the festa. Festa is festival, and had fallen in love with him. Salvatore smiled his sweet smile. See, about Salvatore, nothing unkind, nothing rude, nothing complaining or murmuring, and said he would think about it. On the following Sunday, dressed in his stiff black clothes, in which he looked so much less well than in the ragged shirt and trousers of every day, he went up to High Mass at the parish church. Formal clothes did not suit him. He liked to roam about in the sea with his old torn clothes, and he looked normal, natural in those clothes. At the parish church, and placed himself so he could have a good look at that young woman, that Asunta, whom he considered as ugly as the devil. When he came down again, he told his mother that he was willing to marry her. She's financially little bit okay. Well, they were married, and they settled down in a tiny whitewashed house in the middle of a handsome vineyard. Salvatore was now a great, big, husky fellow, tall, strong, broad-shouldered, but still with that ingenuous smile, an innocent smile, a simple smile, a childlike smile, and those trusting, kindly eyes. He trusted everyone. He was kind to everyone that he had as a boy, as a young boy. Even though he became old, he still had that smile, that innocence, that childlike trust. He had the most beautiful manners I have ever seen in my life. I is the writer. Asunta, on the other hand, was a grim-faced female, very serious, not beautiful, not pretty, with decided features, very determined, very firm. And she looked old for her years, but she had a good heart. So, physical features is not so important as the heart. And she was no fool. I used to be amused by the little smile of devotion that she gave her husband. She was faithful, she loved her Salvatore, and she was very loyal to him. When he was being very masculine and masterful, she never ceased to be touched by his gentle sweetness. This is Salvatore's characteristics. He is gentle, he is very sweet, and Asunta was very devoted, very loyal, very faithful. But she could not bear the girl who had thrown him over. She was very angry with the girl, the unnamed girl from Grand Marina, who did not accept him. And she always used to complain and find fault with that girl. And notwithstanding Salvatore's smiling expostulations, earnest, kindly words, he told his wife Asunta that she should not be unkind. She had nothing but harsh words for her. Asunta had only harsh words for her, not Salvatore, the man whom she had hurt. Presently, children were born to them. It was hard enough life. All through the fishing season, towards evening, he set out in his boat with one of his brothers for the fishing grounds. It was a long pull of 6 or 7 miles, and he spent the night catching the profitable cuttlefish, that is a sea animal with soft flesh but hard shell. Then there was the long row back again in order to sell the catch is the fish, in time for it to go on the early boat to Naples. At other times he was working in his vineyard from dawn till the heat drove him to rest, and then again when it was a trifle cooler till dusk. So a very hard-working person. Often his rheumatism prevented him from doing anything at all. And then he would lie about the beach, smoking cigarettes, with a pleasant word for everyone. He had kind words, good words, cheerful words for anyone who passed him when he was lying on the beach, unable to work because of the pain due to the rheumatism. He had kind words for them. Notwithstanding the pain that racked his limbs, in spite of the pain, he is cheerful, he is good-hearted, he is kind. The foreigners who came down to bathe and saw him there said that these Italian fishermen were lazy devils. The comment that they made, they did not understand that he was sick. Sometimes he used to bring his children down to give them a bath. They were both boys. He had 2 sons, and at this time the elder was 3 and the younger was less than 2. They sprawled about at the water's edge. They stretched out on the ground on the beach, stark naked, without any clothes. And Salvatore, standing on a rock, would dip them in the water. The elder one bore it with stoicism. He gave them a bath. But the baby screamed lustily, very loudly. The baby screamed. He was less than 2 years. Salvatore had enormous hands, like legs of mutton, coarse and hard from constant toil. But when he bathed his children, holding them so tenderly, drying them with delicate care, upon my word, they were like flowers. His 2 sons, he handled them so carefully, and he looked upon them as if they were flowers. So he is very fond of them. He took care of his children. He would seat the naked baby on the palm of his hand and hold him up, laughing a little at his smallness. The younger son, very small and laughing. And his laugh was like the laughter of an angel. This little son, less than 2 years, he laughed like an angel. But notice the next words. His eyes then were as candid as his child's. Salvatore's eyes were as simple, as innocent, as cheerful as this little baby's eyes. I started by saying that I wondered if I could do it. And now I must tell you what it is that I have tried to do. I wanted to see whether I could hold your attention for a few pages while I drew for you the portrait of a young man, the character, the description. Just an ordinary fisherman who possessed nothing in the world except a quality which is the rarest, the most precious, and the loveliest that anyone can have. Salvatore had this quality. He is poor. Heaven only knows why he should so strangely and unexpectedly have possessed it. Only God knows why this quality belonged to Salvatore, in spite of all the setbacks, disappointments, challenges of his life. All I know is that it shone in him. This quality, this characteristic, with a radiance, with a brightness, with a glow, that if it had not been unconscious and so humble, would have been to the common run of man hardly bearable. He was unconscious that he possessed this quality, which the writer mentions at the end. And in case you have not guessed it, what that quality is, I will tell you. Goodness, just goodness. So the only quality which Salvatore had was goodness. And that carried him through all the trials and storms of life.